かな。全てを取り戻す。
Character introduction. Kazuya Mishima was introduced in the very first Tekken game as the main protagonist, pretty much the hero of the game. This is why Kazuya is often referred to as the main man of Tekken, being the original good guy. The plot of the game focused on the conflict between Kazuya and his father Heihachi, who had disowned his son in a very spectacular fashion by throwing him down a cliff at the age of only 10. The Mishima clan is described as a family of strict martial arts practice, fighting in their own version of karate, known as Advanced Mishima Ryu Karate. The family also owns a company called the Mishima Zaibatsu, which in turn controls large companies and financial interests around the world. In short, the Mishima Zaibatsu is one of the most influential corporations in the world. As a result of a tumble down the cliff, Kazuya is greatly injured across his chest. This injury will become the trademark scar we all recognize. Wanting nothing more than to get a chance to give his father the same treatment, he makes a pact with the devil. In return for his soul, the devil will grant Kazuya the strength to survive the injury, as well as climb up the cliff. Around 15 years later, he will finally have his revenge. Heihachi, knowing that his son most likely is still alive, attempts to summon him by holding a major martial arts tournament, inviting the most skilled fighters from across the world. The qualification round's winner will have a chance to fight Heihachi himself.
Father.
Defeat me, and you will win $1 billion and the title of World's Strongest!
Fight.
Come on! Who's next?
Dumb animals.
Kazuya, consumed by evil and possessing inhuman strength, makes the process short with his father. The tournament ends with Heihachi being thrown down the same cliff as his son was, and the suddenly very alive Kazuya becoming the new CEO of the Mishima Zaibatsu. This conflict continues in Tekken 2, where in a new tournament, Heihachi returns to claim the company once again. Kazuya's devil powers are weakened by the presence of Jun.
Let you save me. Are you really crying for me?
And in the confusement he loses to Heihachi. This time Kazuya is thrown down a volcano. While he does avoid landing in lava, the fall kills him. 20 years later we are introduced to a new Kazuya. By the aid of a company called G Corporation, he has been resurrected and is in the process of mapping his devil gene, confident in the idea that locating it could mean a chance of finding a way of controlling it. Kazuya is now older and covered with massive scars across his whole body, testament to the fall down the volcano and the large amount of treatments and surgeries he has gone through. His left eye is now also completely red, which serves as a clever reminder of the duality of Kazuya's nature. The gentle soul that sympathizes with Jun is trapped in the same shell that hosts the devil and the undying lust for revenge against his father.
A person's worst enemy is found deep within the center of their spirit.
It is no secret that the design of Kazuya was heavily influenced by Vegeta of Dragon Ball Z. The hair and mannerisms are very similar. Even Vegeta's father has a striking resemblance to Heihachi. It can also be argued that the Devil Gene and subsequent transformation are variations of the Saiyan Gene and Uzaru transformation. Kazuya's son Jin is a half-blood, mixed with Jun's blood and the Devil Gene. Pretty similar to Gohan, who is half human and half Saiyan. Vegeta even argues that half-bloods could maybe even become stronger than regular Saiyans, due to some mutation. The same argument is made for Jin. Kazuya is an anagram of the name Yakuza, which of course is the Japanese mafia. This is no coincidence, as the Mishima Zaibatsu is presented as a very shady Japanese organization, and Heihachi and Kazuya very often coming across as very mafia-esque. Kazuya is a very interesting character thanks to the conflict of good and evil taking place inside of him. While Heihachi is stereotypically evil and Jin is the typical good guy we have come to expect, one can never really be certain of where Kazuya is heading, although in the past few games Namco have made it easy for themselves by having Kazuya behave like the typical 2D villain, with no redeeming qualities whatsoever. Character analysis. Just by looking at Kazuya's stance, we can tell a lot about how the character works. Note the slow and focused breathing. Kazuya's mindset revolves around calm and concentration, ready to punish or evade any attack thrown at him. The strongest asset the character has is the punishing department. This requires a lot of knowledge and quick reflexes due to the number of moves in the Tekken move list, as well as utilizing the appropriate punisher for each move. We always want to maximize the damage output and our advantage. While a lot of characters have very elaborate move lists filled with strings and stances, Kazuya has a very simple one. Powerful single strikes are favored instead of bewildering your opponent with strings. Kazuya is extremely straightforward in this regard, which makes him predictable and hard to surprise with. I saw a Lei tutorial here on YouTube just a few days ago where the uploader claimed that Lei is a difficult character to use due to his large 180 moves move list. Having a large move list actually makes your character easier to use, not harder. That's a lot more moves and strings that your opponent has to look out for and learn to defend against. And when your character favors defense over offense like Kazuya, that puts a lot of weight on your shoulders in a game such as Tekken. If you want to maximize your defense, then you have to learn how to appropriately deal with thousands of moves, nothing one does overnight. Kazuya requires a lot of dedication due to the insane level of execution that is needed to take him to the highest level, which includes the counter-hit DF2 Perfect Electric Wing Charger, something I will cover later in this guide. Good movement is also something that is required due to his defensive nature, and that is also very hard to acquire. His offensive capability is very limited and most often involves taking large risks. He lacks solid quick and safe mids to keep the opponent in check. While he does have some tools, he has nothing in this aspect that comes close to the DF1 series of Devil Jin and Heihachi. As weaknesses, I have now mentioned his risky offense as well as the high level of execution needed to play him properly. What we can add on the plus side aside from the punishment is his insane combo damage. Kazuya rewards the strategically placed launchers with a lot of pain to your opponent. He has some of the best tag assault fillers and wall enders in the game, complete with the ultra damaging and versatile crouch dash free combo ender. He becomes a very powerful force. I will explain these pros and cons in more detail later in the guide, but I think you get the general idea. Kazuya is a high risk, high reward character. Top 10 moves. These are in my opinion Kazuya's best moves. EVGF, the Electric Wing God Fist and all its variations. If you seek a tutorial on this move, please take a look at the tutorial present on this account right now. The EVGF is an extremely quick launcher which does decent damage in itself and floats your opponent rather high, leading to a devastating juggle. It can even be tag cancelled, and due to the quick recovery, pretty much any character can follow up with a strong staple combo. The VVGF has insane range and stuns your opponent on block, giving you a slight advantage. While the hitbox is high, it has a huge juggling hitbox, making it possible to connect at any time as long as your opponent hasn't completely dropped to the ground. The VVGF even tracks rather well. The move does come with some drawbacks. First of all, it's very difficult to be consistent with at both sides. If you look at even the best of the best Mishima players, you will see them miss this occasionally. The really good players can do this about 80% of the time on any given day. If you hear someone claim to be able to do it 99% of the time, tell him to do it 100 times in a row in practice mode. If he misses more than one, be ready to shake your head in disappointment and slap him firmly across the face. Due to the high hitbox, the VGF can be ducked. The move has a property which makes it recover uber slowly if it fails to connect. This is why you can't spam this move. All in all, this is probably the best move in the game. It's the Mishima's best punisher, and if used wisely, their best offensive move as well. As mentioned previously, the VGF has a ton of different variations who all serve a purpose. Take a look at the tutorial for more info. The Devil Twin Pistons. While not as deadly as in the original completely broken Tekken Tag Tournament 1, it's still godly. Quick mid-mid string, which is a natural combo and launches. It does respectable damage, it's taggable, it tracks decently, it has decent range, and it's only -13, meaning that you won't be severely punished by throwing it out. Considering the amount of carnage if it connects, it's a small price to pay. If you have a hard time punishing with the VGF, then use this move for all -15 moves or more. Note though that it has shorter range than the VGF. It's also Kazuya's best back roll catcher, super easy and super damaging. This move is why we want to transform Kazuya to Devil. 1-1-2, the flash punches. Amazing jab punisher, gives a very rewarding knockdown, perfect for the Mishima wave dash mix-up. It's also hit confirmable, which is very useful. F4, a fantastic mid move. Gives good advantage on hit, on counter it knocks the opponent down for a guaranteed stomp, on block it stuns the opponent, making them recover from ducking position at 3 frames disadvantage. The move can also be easily done from a crouch dash, making it the ideal pressure tool. It's rather quick and the damage in itself is good. Note that the move also bounds, but nothing you will use in that regard. Walls do come to mind, but then you have a more damaging UF3 or forward 3. DF2, another amazing mid move, very quick at 14 frames, which is good for a homing move, meaning that it tracks fully both ways. It does solid damage, but what is most interesting is the counter hit property. It stuns for a full combo. Your opponent will have standing status for 13 frames, meaning that if you are very good with the VGF and have good timing, you can launch the opponent fully. So as your opponent is launched into the air awaiting your combo, you will already have lost 63 health points. With a tag assault thrown into the combo, your opponent is most likely about to die. This is extreme, and considering the ease of landing a DF2 on counter it can look overpowered. It's balanced though by being extremely difficult. It's basically 2 just frames in one. One is the VGF and the other is the perfect timing required. You have to know exactly when the DF2 recovers before doing the VGF input. The DF2 is jab punishable on block at -10, so it cannot be abused in absurdum. Crouch dash 4-1, the Hell Sweep. Super punishable if it's blocked, but very rewarding on hit. This move is the reason people want to duck against Kazuya. It's quick and unseeable, which tends to make people random duck in fear, which in turn is very useful as Kazuya has some devastating launching mids. Good damage and a nice knockdown so you can keep up your momentum. Very dangerous next to walls as it can wall splat in a lot of angles. Kazuya's best tag assault option and his high damage favorite Juggle Ender. While standing 1-2, the Twin Pistons, Kazuya's trademark move. This is the best while standing punisher in the game. Not the best range, but super quick and tag bufferable. Great punisher, and don't be afraid to duck strings and throw this in. Forward 3, quick mid launcher, good damage and completely safe. leaves you and the opponent at the same advantage. Can easily be done out of a crouch dash, one of the better bounding moves next to wall. Down back 4, a great low move, solid damage, makes the opponent kneel at the might of Kazuya on counter it, giving solid advantage. Unfortunately, it doesn't have any awesome crushing properties. It's not launch punishable, but it can hurt to have this blocked, so use it wisely. All in all, a good move, considering Kazuya's mighty mids, people tend to not duck. DF3-1, Kazuya's best poking string and one of his few good offensive options. The string is mid, and every hit is hit confirmable. The first knee is completely safe on block and even hits grounded. People trying to stand up while this hits grounded will be floated for a juggle. Connecting DF3-2 gives a good advantage. The damage is fine also, considering that it's not that risky. You will have to be in your opponent's face though when doing this, as the range of a first knee is very limited. You can occasionally do the full string by baiting your opponent into punishing your DF3-2 on block, which is jab punishable. If you manage to hit your opponent with the final blow and counter it, you can dash electric him for a full combo. This is very hard to set up and rare to see in games. People are very familiar with the Kazuya matchup, very seldomly fall for this. Punishment, easily Kazuya's strongest side. First off, Kazuya's block punishment. At -10 frames, we get 1-1-2 or 1-2-2. The former gives a nice knockdown and the latter gives a slight frame advantage. At -12, our weapon of choice is B1-2. This does absurd damage and wall splats. It can be hit confirmed, although you won't be doing that as much, as it's a punishing tool. The range is not as good as one would like, but still solid. It knocks down, which is always good. At 13 negative frames, Kazuya can PVGF, that's doing a perfect electric wind dodge. And this gives of course a full launch. He's the only Mishima able to launch this quickly, and it's thanks to his misstep. And now for Kazuya's wild standing punishment. This is used when blocking low attacks. At -11 frames we incorporate wild standing 4-4. Good damage. You can also just do wild standing 4 only for the frame advantage and go for a mix-up afterwards. At -13 we get the twin pistons for full launch. Remember though that the range is not very good. At -16 we get the very damaging wild standing +2, which is also tag bufferable. It's a homing move and it's got good range. It's more punishable than a lot of people think though. At 18 negative frames, all characters get a launch basically. A notable mention is Kazuya's forward +2, which can punish moves a lot of other characters can't due to its insane range. Kazuya excels at whiff punishing with his dash electric, forward +3 and forward 2. Poking. Kazuya's poking ability is very limited. It mostly revolves around forward +4, down forward 3-2, down forward 4, while standing 4, jabs, down forward 1, back 2-4, down back 4, D4 and forward 3. Back 2-4 is a good hit confirmable string that's made high, but I don't really like it as the back 2 by itself is not very good. Using it as block pressure doesn't really work either, as the frames are not very good, and as the second hit is high and can be ducked. Down forward 3-2 is the better option in my opinion. Down forward 4 is safe but easily sidestepped, and it's very disadvantageous on block. If it hits, you can easily hit confirm it into down forward 4-4 though. Forward 3 is a good tool, reaches very far, and good follow-up options on counter it. It's safe if you can use it at the appropriate distance. Forward 4 will most likely always remain Kazuya's best mid. You just can't use this enough. Combo. Kazuya's got great juggling tools in this game. Some of the best tag assault enders with CD3 and the Devil Racer. A great tag assault option with CD41, which does insane damage. He also has very damaging solo combos. His wall enders are also very much above average. What follows now are some combo tips for a number of situations. Mix-ups. Considering the threat of Kazuya's super strong mid-launchers like between pistons and forward 3, people tend to not duck him very often. We force the opponent to duck by utilizing the hell sweep or down back 4. Don't be afraid of spamming hell sweeps on someone who doesn't seem to want to duck. While the move itself does slightly under 14 damage, no one likes to be knocked to the ground in Tekken. Another thing that will make sure your opponent ducks is to spam electrics in his face, constantly being thrown into a -5 frames block stomp. If you can anticipate his duck, you can score a launch. A good mid option Kazuya has, which I almost put into the top 10 moves, is his forward roll kick. This is the only move Kazuya has with really good crushing ability. That means it evades very well. It will go under highs and even a lot of mids, doing solid damage and knocking the opponent down for a good ground game. DF3 is good here, as it will hit them lying down or pick them up for a juggle if they try standing. The knockdown cannot be tech rolled. The move is also rather safe on block. While it is punishable at -11 frames, the opponent has to be quick in order to punish it. The move was easier to punish in previous Tekken games. Mix-ups can be talked about forever, but I think I've made it clear what I think are Kazuya's good mid options as well as his lows. Ground game. Kazuya has a lot of moves which hit grounded. He has his Oni Stomp, which is his dedicated ground hit move, done by pressing down 3+4. Good damage. This is often applied when ending a wall combo with a spike, like forward 4. Mixing up the stomp with a mid move at wall splat. His Devil Laser is also a dedicated ground hitting move. It's got better range than the stomp. Other common moves that hit low are the hell sweeps, down back 3, down back 4, it hits in some angles, down forward 3, the demon scissors, down, down and free. The down forward free knee will pick up people who stand for a juggle and hit them if they lay still. Back to 4 is a great pickup if you anticipate to stand. It's good for back rolls as well. Don't forget that the Devil Twin Pistons is a great tool to catch back rollers. Tech rolls are a good opportunity to apply a crouch dash mix-up. Anti-sidestep. In Tekken 6 BR, Namco made some terrible decisions regarding Kazuya, and as a result he was almost completely crippled against sidesteppers. There were some workarounds for this, but it was, to say the least, not a very well thought out nerf. Luckily they realized their mistake, and Kazuya now has some great tools against sidesteppers. The EVGF with its increased range and tracking is a scary option now, which can make people wary of sidestepping. Kazuya's down forward 2 and while standing 2 have both become homing moves. While the while standing 2 is very risky, it's a great anti-sidestep move. The DF2 is great, just remember that it's jab punishable on block. Kazuya still has his safe homing move option with while standing +3, but as in Tekken 6 it's just too slow. It borders on completely useless. It can lead to something good next to walls as it wall splat, but Kazuya's got better options than that next to walls, like back 4-1. Throws. Kazuya's regular throws don't present anything really special in terms of advantage, although 2+4 is noteworthy. If your opponent stands after the throw, you have a good chance of catching them in the back with a number of moves. They are also within reach of a stomp and other ground tools. If they roll away from you, feel free to try the EVGF roll catch. The key is to try and hit them as the roll ends. The same options apply to Kazuya's Gates of Hell grab. Another good option is to throw out down forward 3-2-1. Every hit can be hit confirmed, which is very useful when you want to bait an opponent who is lying down into trying to get up kick punish you. The Gates of Hell can easily be done out of a wave dash by simply holding down forward on the last crouch dash and pressing 1+2. The wake up game after these throws is, needless to say, more rewarding next to walls, where there is nowhere to run. The Stonehead throw distinguishes itself mostly with the wall splat property next to walls, which is extremely useful. On open ground it has a pretty unique knockdown which can be tech rolled. If a knockdown is not tech rolled, you get a guaranteed stomp. Movement. As Kazuya is such a defensive character and relies mostly on well-placed electrics and other tools, it's crucial to master movement. While a lot of characters don't really need more than their forward dash and constantly pummeling you with pokes in your face, Kazuya has a knack for fighting a few steps away from the opponent. Good movement gives the freedom to dictate the match in a lot of instances. The most important aspect of movement to learn is the backdash cancel. A backdash cancel is performed by doing a backdash and cancelling it by ducking. When you release the duck and hit back once again, you will dash out of it. Repeating this process results in a fast way of retreating and creating space between you and your opponent. While it can be done very quickly, make sure to really hit those ducks. Don't cancel them too quickly, as that will lead to a very short dash. A lot of people think of the input as doing a wave dash. This is why you want to practice the wave dash motion on both sides, because we want to be able to do wave dash and back dash on the same side. The wave dash is a series of crouch dashes linked together. It's a Mishima trademark, although a lot of other characters can do it. It is used to close distance fast, charge your opponent usually with the typical 50-50 mix-up. It's hard to learn how to do this, and unfortunately all I can tell you is to keep practicing. Forward moves can easily be done out of a wave dash thanks to 1-4-F already being buffered in the crouch dash. So to do a forward 3 from a wave dash, all we have to do is press F3. This is very handy. If we want to cancel into while standing options, we quickly input back plus the designated button. So to do the twin pistons, we do a crouch dash and input back +1 and then 2. The timing is not very easy, but comes with practice. To do down forward diagonal moves from the wave dash, simply hold forward after the last crouch dash and don't let go. Now slide into the diagonal and go for it. It's very easy. Sidestepping well can do a lot of good when you have Kazuya's very damaging tools. Try tapping up or down to evade an opponent's attack and punish with back +1, 2. If you're good with the EVGF, try throwing this out. By double tapping and holding up or down, we sidewalk. Versus certain strings and attacks, this can easily have you at your opponent's back in no time. Kazuya's 1, 2, 4, 3 string is guaranteed at the back of the opponent for good damage. It even wall splats for absurd damage. Wall pressure. When your opponent has his back against the wall, Kazuya has a number of tools to keep up the pressure. VVGF is great in this regard. If you keep spamming it next to a wall, all your opponent can do is either to get hit or to duck. If you manage to anticipate the duck, you can score a wall splat with up forward +3, which is a safe mid option. Or you can use the super damaging back 4-1, but that one is punishable though. As mentioned earlier, Kazuya has a low combo starting option next to walls, which is his hell sweep, crouch dash 4-1, giving him a very nasty 50-50 mix-up. Forward 4, as in all cases, is a good way to apply pressure. Not to forget is the stonehead throw, forward +1, 2, which gives a wall splat next to walls. It helps a lot if you're not super obvious with a seeable dash into it. The down forward 3-2-1 is also a cute option next to walls, which one can play around with quite a bit. If your opponent is overly defensive next to the wall, don't be afraid of throwing in the short version of the lightning screw uppercut. You'll be surprised to know how often this works. Also, try and be on the lookout for your opponent's attacks, because one successful quick sidestep into the B1-2 next to walls will probably kill them, and it's very easy to land considering the huge speed of a B1-2. The Devil Transformation. At the end of the 4th King of Iron Fist tournament, Kazuya manages to break the Devil's control of his soul. Finally, he has the ability to control the Devil Gene. While this is something we have seen a lot in cinematics and in the story since then, Tekken Tag Tournament 2 marks the first time we actually get to experience this change in the gameplay. By pressing up back 1+2, we can transform Kazuya into Devil Kazuya. By doing the same input once again in Devil mode, Kazuya transforms back into his usual self. There are quite a number of differences between the two. First of all, Devil Kazuya gains all of the typical Devil lasers. The up forward 1+2 laser, which is a superb juggling tool, the down 1+2 ground hitting laser, which is much better than his usual stomp due to the great range. He also gains the standing 1+2 laser, which is a better move than a lot of people think. If you expect a long distance tag, you can throw this out to potentially snipe both your opponent's characters at the same time. It recovers fast and is safe to throw out at far range. It also wall breaks in case you are ending a combo with a lot of lasers next to a breakable wall. This means though that you lose regular Kazuya's 1+2. This is not a huge loss, but you do lose the easy counter it down forward 2 option, which is great next to walls. Devil Kazuya can do the Devil Twister, Sidestep +2. A very risky move, which you don't see a lot, but it does have sick potential. Successfully sidestep, evade your opponent's attack, and immediately launch him for a devastating sky-high combo. Devil Kazuya forward 4-2 is different from regular Kazuya's. The Devil version is mid, contrary to the regular version, which is high. The latter is safe on block, where the Devil version is punishable. Both are very similar in the range department, huge range. Devil Kazuya can extend the TGF, that's the Thunder God Fist, CD1, on hit. You can extend it on hit into Heaven's Gate by holding up forward. This serves as one of the best juggle enders in the game. The most fundamental change the Devil transformation brings is the classic Devil Twin Piston. A fantastic mid-launcher. We lose all of regular Kazuya's DF1 strings though, which can hurt. It especially hurts Devil Kazuya's juggling potential. Down back 2 is the juggle bound of choice for him, as he loses the fantastic down forward 1-2 bound. Easily Kazuya's most versatile bounding move. Mostly thanks to the Devil Twin Pistons, Devil Kazuya is widely regarded as superior to regular Kazuya. As the transformation takes time and leaves you defenseless, try and do it after a knockdown, and not randomly in the open. Thankfully, the transformation stays in between rounds, so we don't have to transform every single round. Note that I did not mention his 3+4 flying laser. This is because it's completely useless.